All right, let me just make an announcement that this meeting is being recorded and will be available on our website within 24 hours of the meeting. I call this meeting of the Arlington Electoral Board to order on September 10th, 2024 at 6:01 p.m. I think the first item I'd like to move to amend the agenda to add a closed session to discuss an item properly that can be discussed at the closed sessions.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Secondly, I move that the minutes from the August 13th, 2024 meeting be approved.
Second.
Any discussion about the minutes? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Minutes are approved. Okay. And the next item is public comments. You have with Gretchen,
Yes.
public comment.
The first name submitted was Constance Potter. Letters.
Two comments. One, Pam Berg, the president, wanted me to let you all know that we're encouraging everyone when we do voter registration to check your voter registration to make sure that it's updated and current. And also, please mail your ballots 10 days before the election so they get there on time. But my,
Yes.
This Thursday at the Central Library from 6:30 to 8-ish. Gretchen and Dominique are going to be talking about their respective jobs with the Office of Elections and Board of Elections. It's open to the public, so please come.
When is that event?
Thursday the 12th, from 6:30 to about 7:45 to 8. The library closes at 8.
They're very strict about getting out on time.
Yes, they
They will do that, take care of that for you.
And that's central. And shout out to that central library.
The garage, yes.
Thank you.
The parking garage, that's the problem there. That gate comes down. Yep. Then you have to tailgate a staff member out.
Hi, Gretchen, do we have public comments?
Yes,
Any
one more. We have Frank Lusby.
Yes, greetings everyone, and I'd like to start by thanking the board and the election office for the election officer affiliation process. Seems to be working well. So thank you very much. I have a general question, is whether we responded now or later. It's about the UOCAVA, the Uniformed and Overseas Citizens Absentee Voting Act. So there have been reports that there have been a spike of applications for the UOCAVA. That it's actually grown from 900,000, this is, I guess, nationwide, 900,000 in 2016 to estimated 2.2 million this year. So my question, I guess, is for Gretchen and the office. What is the identity of the non-military applicants? Is that identified, or how is that identified? It's my understanding that now the non-military applicants for UOCAVA is 60-65% in some situations. So how is the identity of the non-military applicants being identified? Is it Social Security, is it driver's license? And if they don't have those things, is there some exception that they can still apply that kind of ID? And then finally, is there any sort of proof of citizenship required when you request their application of the UOCAVA? So that was just my just a general query.
I don't know the answer to that question, and I'd be pleased if Gretchen at some point can give us some sort of brief summary of what the law entails. All right, we have been provided with a list of potential appointees as election officers, and I have looked through the list and see nothing objectionable about it. So I move that the list of election officers provided be appointed for a term commencing immediately and terminating on February 28th, 2025. All in favor? Aye.
Before we
Discussion.
vote, yeah, I'll just note that for anybody that is looking at the list, the person on 24 appears to be repeated on 25, so. I mean, it's possible that there are people by that name in Arlington. That's not exactly wildly unusual, but I'm pretty sure that that's probably a repetition. And only,
So it would be 77.
no, it's 76. If you notice, the numbers jump from 76 to 78. But there's 76 election officers on this list.
Right, with the exceptions noted by Dominic. Question is, do we approve this list of election officers? All in favor, say aye.
I
Aye. Okay, this is approved. The next item on the agenda has to do with an item that came up last week involving voting by non-citizens. We had been provided with a list of some people who had been on the voting roll and were ordered removed by the State Board of Elections because the State Board of Elections had determined that they were non-citizens, and the information that we were then provided said that of those people being removed, 11 had actually voted in Arlington elections. And so I guess the update we're hoping to hear is, in fact, were those 11 people who were removed at the behest of elect, and were they in fact people who had voted in previous elections?
So I have referred this list to the Commonwealth's attorney. And at this point, they are conducting an investigation, if you will. So I'm afraid I cannot comment during an ongoing investigation. Any comment would need to come from the Commonwealth's attorney at this point. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we can't confirm that without, I mean, we obviously haven't mentioned any names. We can't confirm that those 11 people, according to our records, actually did vote.
I confirmed that the information on the list reflects what is in our records. But all of that has been referred to the Commonwealth's attorney at this point.
All right, well, then I would move that in addition to referring to the Commonwealth attorney, that we also send the same information to the state attorney general, just so that both of them can look at that information.
second. Is that a motion?
That's a motion. So any discussion?
Sorry, no, let me just get that written down.
Okay.
So the motion is to refer the list to the AG.
They have an office of
Okay.
elections
And then
and stuff.
second, Dominic. No, I don't have any discussion. I think I agree. Yeah.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay.
I have related to this question, maybe that turns into a motion. I think this would be something that would be discussed in closed session, but could we politely ask whoever is doing the work on Teresa's office's side to perhaps join us on October 1st at our meeting to maybe provide us whatever they can in closed session?
Yeah, I made that request in a meeting with them last week, and it was declined, and the only information I was given was it's an ongoing investigation at this point. So they're still verifying the data on their end and trying to see if any of it is.
Perhaps if we said it's an official request of the electoral board, it might jar them a bit.
Yep.
I'm gonna put that board requested.
Unless anybody objects to that request. I don't want to speak for the board.
Question, is there any time limit that they have?
They don't have to. This is common when there's any investigation. They have no obligation to keep me updated on any piece of the investigation. Yep, and it's really common with elections for when we do refer stuff to the FBI, the police, we do not get any update on what happened in that case. So, and some of it is because like if things are being settled out, there's a lot going on. So once we turn it over, unless they have further questions, we are not involved in that stage. So.
I would not add, but just add to the request, just to note for them, I'm not necessarily asking that they come and report on specific cases, but if they could give us a sense of the like what they're seeing, numbers even, just like, because I think that, and the argument to make to them is it does impact what we should be doing on our end, security wise, like if that's.
And I think they would.
If they clear all these people, then we could just say, okay, fine. Great.
But I think any statements they would prefer their office make. So. Yeah. But.
Next item on the agenda is the November ballot, and I gather we have another presidential candidate.
We do. So I know there's a lot of anxiousness among certain people in the community to go ahead and have a sample ballot ready. But I'm not sure who paid attention to the news this weekend. But at about 5:15 on Friday night, another candidate for president was approved by the State Board of Elections. Cornell West has been added. So that meant that our ballots, we submitted additional proofs with Cornell West's name added over the weekend, and our ballots were approved today. So we hope that we can get them up and on the website tomorrow. So
we previously stated that, unlike our earlier conjectures, we got a waiver that.
Yeah, so previously we were well, the way the ballot standards for the state are written is when you have ranked choice voting followed by questions on the ballot, that it needed to be a 2-page ballot, a 2-card ballot. We did put in a request with the Commissioner of Elections to have a waiver to just have 1-side ballot. So instead of having 2-card ballots, voters will now be given a 17-inch ballot when they go vote. So on the front, we'll have all of the offices. On the back, we'll have ranked choice voting with that county board race. And then we'll have the constitutional amendment and then our 5 bond questions. So we were able to get it to fit on a 17-inch ballot, which is better.
One piece of paper.
Is better. Yeah. So
Yeah, we have.
Yeah,
We were able to fit it all. We didn't. We have. There are rules about how small we can.
Yeah, there are rules about how the font size on the ballot, and we do our best to add spacing and things to make it a little bit more readable.
We need 17 inches.
But anybody who does have who forgets their reading glasses when they come vote, they can always vote on that touchscreen device where they can make the text as big as they want to. And that's a good solution for, and we also, polling places have magnifying glasses, but sometimes people don't for whatever reason, want to sit there with a magnifying glass. So we can always put them on a touchscreen. But if you can't read your ballot or you can't see the ovals, just let the election staff know. We can make accommodations.
Note to Alyssa to remind the chiefs that they have that. Very easy to overlook that.
Yeah.
Magnifier.
Okay.
Question, it's so public knowledge, but was RFK Jr. ever on the ballot or taken off the ballot?
Yeah, he was approved. He did submit the paperwork to be approved, but it's my understanding that he submitted a withdrawal notice in advance of them certifying the list of candidates at their state board meeting last week. So
he is not on.
He is not on the ballot. Virginia. It's a lot of last minute moving pieces. Welcome to a presidential election.
All right, the next item, if we're done with the ballot, next item on the agenda is to schedule logic and accuracy testing for precincts, and this means coming up with a date.
Yes.
I will be out of town until Thursday, is that Thursday, the 16th, is it?
October 16th, no, 18th is a Thursday.
18th is the day I'm returning, is it? After that date?
Because we need to load the carts the week of the 28th. Thursday's the 17th, I apologize.
Friday,
You
the
did it the
18th.
week
feasible.
of following that.
Sorry?
You need to load the cards the week of the 28th. And the week of the 21st.
Yeah, the week of the 21st.
Which is after, like, so
Yeah.
that Tuesday or, I don't know. what that is.
Yeah,
That has to be done at the warehouse and during the day anyway.
yeah. And I don't know what her preferred dates were. For me, that feels a little late, but we can certainly present that as an opportunity for Jackie.
If that works with Jackie, it'd be my preference, but if it needs to be done earlier, I can.
Yeah.
Skip it.
So we're looking at like the 18th through the 25th then? As a
No.
possible date?
18th or the 21st would be the last possible date, from what you're saying.
No, they'll load equipment starting the 28th.
Oh, okay.
But this is where, like I said, if there's what's happened in the past. So sorry, I always live on like what's happened in the past. So in 2012, Hurricane Sandy hit that week before the election and disrupted the schedule. So we try not to let things wait in the event that we do have to shut down for 48 hours. It can just really disrupt the entire timeline. Yeah.
Well, I would defer to Jackie's
Yeah.
best judgment on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So we'll follow up with Jackie on dates.
Yeah. And I did have a request from Jackie today. LNA for early voting is scheduled next week on the 17th. She was requesting if we could move that to the warehouse rather than here, because it's a lot of moving of equipment back and forth. Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
okay. Is 6 p.m. still okay? It can get dark at the warehouse.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Rich. Okay.
What's the address of the?
We'll send notice to I don't have it. Yeah, I don't, yeah.
We'll send notice to the party.
Yeah, I'll let them know that it's being moved. Okay.
And
Okay,
that park. Green is now.
so that is if everybody's okay with that, then.
So we're leaving it at 6.
All right, the next item on the agenda is the outreach calendar.
So for that, we have a slide. So we do have a busy next couple of months of outreach scheduled. So we are right now going to retirement communities at their request in Arlington. And what we are doing at these events is we're collecting mail ballot applications if any residents want them. Or if any new residents have moved in, we're going ahead and registering them to vote. So we were at Sunrise Bluemont today. We will be at the American University College of Law Civic Engagement Fair. And that the goal of that is really to recruit people to be election officers or to be involved in the process with an event like that one at AU next week. We have our League of Women of Votes next Thursday night. Then
This Thursday night.
this Thursday night. Well, it is next Thursday. This Thursday. Anyway, it is the next Thursday. No, thank you for correcting me. So Friday, we're at the Carlin Springs Rehab Facility. On September 25th, we are doing election trivia at Aurora Hills. It is quite challenging, and we did our first run with it at Langston Brown last week. So they had a good time.
Yeah, I will say the election trivia, it's in the 55 plus catalog, but it is open to everyone. You
Yeah.
don't have to be a 55 plus member, anyone can go.
We'll be at Marymount University on the 30th. I've been invited to speak at a class at Marymount on the 30th. That is that event. So that is not a public event, just to be clear. We will be working with Arlington Public Schools, doing a professional development class with them, talking about election security. And then we will have another election trivia run at Arlington Mill. In addition to that, I have to do an election security briefing with the COG regional leadership tomorrow. That one's not on there. So it is quite a busy month for Tanya and I.
Yeah,
That's Council of Governments, I assume.
Oh, yeah, Metro Washington Council of Governance. Yep. And that, the one tomorrow.
Jargony lingo.
Sorry. The one tomorrow, I believe it is public and televised, but don't quote me on that. So.
Gretchen, I received an invitation to the
Yes.
for the 23rd.
Okay.
So I'll follow up with you afterwards.
Yeah.
Specifically what I would need.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah.
One of these, including the free cookies with the.
The league organized that one.
That was Joan's Court.
We don't provide, the only things we provide for free are stickers, and paperwork. So.
Now, though. We do have some
The stickers are.
Yeah, we do have some fun stickers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember you decorate.
Anyway, so that is, like I said, if anybody is with a community group or wants us to come speak to a civic organization or anything like that, do let us know as soon as possible so that we can make sure we are adequately staffed, both so that we can come out to that event if we have to. Yep. Okay.
All right, the next item on the agenda is we're having a closed section. I move that the electoral board go into closed session pursuant to state code section 2.2-3, 711A7 for the purpose of discussing legal advice. Second,
Again.
all in favor? Or-
Aye.
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 Okay. We're now in moving into closed session.
6:20.
You can
So there's
say
nothing
goodbye.
after closed session. No cookies, sorry.
This year, we
After
should
closed session, we'll just.
we should have arranged something
I
for
want-
Rich's
I want the
birthday
Paley-
next year.
Paley-
All right, I move that the electoral board return to public session, and I certify that only public business matters lawfully exempt from open meeting requirements by Virginia law, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed session were heard, discussed, or considered. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're back in public session. The only thing here is I guess we're going to, we have a electronic participation policy.
Yeah, we just need to
We,
sign
yeah,
it.
we
Yeah,
passed last time.
Yeah, and I recorded, we came out of closed session at 6:47 PM. We went into closed session at 6:23 PM.
Otherwise, I think all we have to do is I move that we adjourn.
All right, I second that. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye. We adjourned at 6:48 PM. Thank you very
We'll
much.
see
Happy
We'll
birthday.
see you on Thursday. but-